Christina is an adaptive sports therapist at the Orlando VA Medical Center. She specializes in creating and implementing adaptive sports programs for individuals with varying levels of abilities, to include developing important things like policies and program operations and standards and guidelines for adaptive sports equipment. Christina is a program specialist of the National Veterans Sports Program and special events, and assisted with the execution and management of the VA Adaptive Sports Grant Program and the Veterans Monthly Training Stipend Program. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much. Seeing if I can access my camera. Beautiful. All right. Thank you guys so much for that. I was just listening in on the previous session. It sounds like you guys are getting a lot of great information today. We're going to jump right into it. So I'm going to shift gears here just a little bit, and I'm going to start sharing my screen so I can go right into my slides here. Adapting physical activity. All right. All right, so like she said, my name is Christina Lefex. I've been doing adaptive sports now for, gosh, like close to 20 years. I started out in the private sector and then started working with the veteran population and really just fell in love with working with veterans. And I saw it as a way to kind of give back and serve as well. My family has all been in the Army except for me. Kind of a little wimp, so I didn't think that was the right path to take. So it's my pleasure to serve those who have served. Let me just move this down a second because it's kind of blocking my view. All right. Okie dokie. So I reference the American Medical Association often. They actually identify that being physically active is one of the most important actions individuals of all ages, and they didn't include this in the quote, but they do intend to say this, all ages and all ability levels can engage in to improve their health. It's one of those things that it doesn't differ depending on your ability level. So whether you are quadriplegic, your still activity standards are the same as an able-bodied person, and the amount of activity, physical activity that you require is actually the same. A lot of us hear that we should be exercising and being active, but why are we? What are really the benefits? A lot of the benefits for physical activity mirror that you may have had for rehab goals or something similar in that nature. So you want to enrich and enhance your life. You want to engage in physical activity, and this is designed to promote physical, mental, and social well-being. So as you heard in the previous session, she was actually saying like utilizing the social supports and everything that you have. A lot of time, this is a great way to develop that social support and that sense of community out in the community, or just with a group of like-minded people who are there trying to just better themselves. You also want to help to develop and improve your independence, confidence, and improved wellness through participation in adaptive and physical activity. I'm a big fan of any type of functional fitness, anything that you're going to use and help support your day-to-day life. CrossFit is one of them. There's hard exercise works, and actually this functional fitness is just kind of taking the mainstream throughout the country. There's a bunch of different types of gyms available now that focuses on everyday skills. So if we're modifying those everyday skills, it's only going to help to support and increase your independence and the longevity of your independence as well. I work at the VA in Orlando, and I'm kind of all over the place as far as positions go, but I was spending a little bit of time at the VA nursing home, and I did see people who were just very, very deconditioned, way too young to be living in a nursing home, but had they just allocated a little bit more time for their physical fitness and keeping themselves as independent as possible for as long as possible, they likely would not have been living there. So who is appropriate for physical activity? literally everybody needs a bit of fitness in their life. It just helps to create that balance. It's just one of like the main pillars of life, where physical fitness, your emotional health, your physical health, your well-being, everything, and the relationships that you have. So everybody needs physical fitness in their life. It's just a matter of what fits you, what you enjoy doing, what's sustainable for you. So it's just finding that one niche or a couple of different avenues and exploring those. So back to referencing the American Medical Association. Apparently, not very many of us are as adequately active as we need to be. Approximately 80% of all adults and adolescents are insufficiently active. So not a lot of us are actually moving our bodies as much as we think we are, or as much as we need to be. So let's just try and like reset and refocus that a little bit and make it a little bit more of a priority as often as we can. I was speaking about the average, about functional fitness. That is, I'm a big proponent to that. I think, like I said, it just carries over in your day-to-day life. So the average functional fitness class is about 55 minutes. So with that being said, we're going to go back to the guidelines. The guidelines recommend 150 to 300 minutes per week of moderate, intense, or exercising. So if we're using that as a guideline, that's roughly 3 to 5 times per week that we're doing some sort of exercise. If we're talking about moderate to intense exercise, that could be something like a cycling. If we're talking about like a higher intensity, it could be the HIIT training, it could be a CrossFit, it could be any number of things. But the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter what you're doing, just try and move your body as much as you can and as often as you can, but taking all things into consideration too. You do want to find that balance in your body, and you'll know when you start overtraining, you just won't feel quite right. Your performance won't be as good. So it's finding that balance. When do you need like a mobility and recovery day? When do you feel well enough to really hit the gas and give it some oomph in your workouts? So it's just really listening to your body throughout the whole process as you increase your physical activity. I did mention some functional fitness gyms. This is a list of just some of them that they have throughout the country. There's new ones that are popping up too, because this is become a bit more popular. It's been newly released too. So these are all technically physical fit or functional fitness gyms. I will say that the CrossFit community has just released an adaptive division. It's brand new this in 2021. So there'll be an adaptive division to their Open and the CrossFit Games. So that's brand new 2021, which is actually pretty exciting news to finally see an all-inclusive environment at a competitive fitness field. So for people who aren't familiar with adapting physical fitness and you do want more information, there is a formalized training available. And this is not just for the individual themselves. This is for your family members. If you go to a gym and they're not sure of how to scale or modify anything to your ability level, this is a great place to start. They offer virtual trainings and then also in-person trainings once we're in a little bit more of a safer environment with the coronavirus right now. But Adaptive Training Academy is a disabled veteran-run organization, and it just helps you to learn and practice the principles that will enable you to participate in adaptive fitness and improve your overall health in an inclusive setting. So it will literally modify every workout movement and give you different stimulus so you can see what it's like working out at a modified level. So like I said, this is great for everybody. I encourage our community partners. So if we have a gym community partner at the Orlando VA as part of the Adaptive Sports Program, I encourage that somebody on their staff attends this seminar just to ensure that they do have the knowledge working with the disabled population. A lot of times if you're going into a community gym and say, for example, you're a seated athlete, you're going in there, they may not have ever seen a seated athlete in the gym who's there active and kind of ready to give it a go. So it's definitely takes a little bit of the ownership on you to help educate people as much as possible as you're integrating into different community populations. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples of physical activity, adaptive physical activity movements. So if you were to go to a functional fitness gym, this list right here of different movements may be what you would see on the board. So box jumps, burpees, deadlifts, and jump ropes or split ropes. So I'm going to show you just a couple of videos real quick on what they would look like. And this is all completely individualized to your unique ability level. So you're going to be tweaking this, take with it what you would like. But I'm just going to show you a couple of really quick videos here just to show you some of the options. All right, there was music, but I have hit mute just because it is a little on the annoying side. So I'm going to start over since we can see it from a large screen. And then I'm going to pause it here just to give you guys some points of performance. So if we're talking about a box jump, a traditional box jump would be, 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing on top of a box, and then you're coming down. However, for a seated athlete, it would not look like that. There's a lot of different options for what a box jump would look like. And this is a box U-turn. This is just one example of what a box jump can look like. Like I said, everything is totally customizable to your individual fitness goals, your needs, everything. So for this one, his front the axle must pass the front of the tape box line. So there is a blue line there. You can faintly see it. Then you have to pull back, do a 180, and then pass through the other part of the taped line. And I'll just show you that for a second here. So his front caster is going across that taped line, spinning around, and then his front caster is hitting that front position again. With this, ideally, you don't want to hit the box, which he just did. And ideally, you want to do this as quickly and as efficiently as you possibly can. And again, this is something that would just kind of carry over and support your everyday life. So let's just escape out of that. So hold on just one second. We're going to go over to a couple of more videos. I just wanted to feature a couple of them. Oh gosh, that's not what I wanted. All right. Okie dokie. Oops, sorry about the delay here. Let's see. Here we are. So the next one we're going to do would be burpees. So traditionally, the point of performance for a burpee would be you'd be starting on your feet, and then you would be jumping down onto the ground. So this way your chest touches the ground, and you're basically in a full like plank position with your body touching the ground. And then you're going to pop up. So you go like arms up, hips up, and then you're jumping up and clapping overhead. So for those who don't have the physical ability to do that, we want to replicate the motion and the stimulus as best as we can. So for that, we would be using something like a slam ball or any type of ball and bringing it up overhead. So here you can see this gentleman is just grabbing the ball, bringing it as high overhead as he possibly can, and then returning it back down to his lap. If you do have the ability, we would be returning that ball down to the ground, but there's a couple of different options. So for him, that's his range of motion, and that's what he's going to be using. All right, and you may recognize this gentleman. He did work at the PBA for a little while there. Let's see. Okay, so there are several videos embedded in this PowerPoint. So I would recommend that you check them out. One is for somebody who would present more like a quadriplegic or impairments in all 4 extremities. The other is more of a seated athlete with extremities and impairments in lower extremities. So there's a couple of them here. So it goes over a bunch of them. They are embedded in here. So just for the sake of time, I do want to kind of proceed forward. All right. Okay, so we're gonna just, I was just going through, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing the screen right there, but they are all embedded in here, like I said. So there is some equipment that you may not be familiar with. Split ropes is one of them. That's basically taking the handles of jump ropes, and then you have approximately 1 foot of rope and you're spinning it round, and it elicits a similar response to actually jumping rope. It might actually be worse. It is so intense on your forearms and your grip and your hands. It's really not for the faint of heart. They come in different sizes, different weights, everything. You can really utilize different things. So like I said before too, when we're talking about going into a community gym, what do we expect people to be able to see or know about your ability level? Some things I tell the veterans who I work with, share as much as you feel comfortable sharing, and also educate them along the way. So there's a couple, we actually had a situation where a veteran went to a gym. He wasn't one of our community partners, and the gym owner saw veterans getting out of their wheelchair, similar to this gentleman here, Kevin Ogar, and he wasn't able to like actually transfer himself in and out successfully. So there was a bit of a challenge there. And so I would just highly recommend sharing as much as you possibly can with people, especially people the coaches, anyone you're going to be working directly with. So are you able to transfer in and out of your wheelchair? Are you able to do independent floor transfers? That may be something that comes up. You can actually train to work on that. Skin issues, pressure relief, anything like that, the more you can possibly share, the better. All right, so I did touch upon equipment. Equipment would be some of the split ropes. Also, that featured item there is a lap mat, and that just provides your lap with a bit of protection. So this way you don't have to worry about your skin, anything like that getting damaged if you're putting like weights or anything like that on your lap. All right, so we're gonna pop out of this for a second, and then we're gonna go into more of a seated type of exercise. All right, so I know I kind of went through the slides really quickly, but I did really want to get you guys moving a little bit. I know you guys have been sitting and listening to a lot of great information, so I do want to go into what would be considered a Tabata. So a Tabata, I am going to share my screen here for a second just to show you guys what you're going to actually be doing. All right, so we're going to be doing a Tabata. The Tabata is basically an equation, and it's 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and we're doing this for 8 rounds in total, and it only equates to 4 minutes of work. And this is a general equation. You can tweak this however you would like to make it your own. We're going to just go through a couple of different movements and complete at 4 minutes. It's not uncommon to do double Tabata, or you can do all one movement for this. But let's get this body moving. So to start, we're gonna go into combat breathing to start. Since we may be getting a little winded here, let's just practice a little bit of our combat breathing. I'm gonna stop sharing this, but it can be available later as well, just so we can kind of, you can see me and I can go from there. So what we're going to be doing is going into combat breathing. Combat breathing is taking a nice, slow, controlled breath in and then forcing it out aggressively. So go ahead and give me a couple of those. And this is great to do. You guys can keep going on with those. This is fantastic to do when you start getting winded. You feel your heart rate increasing. It's a great way to help you just kind of clear and flush out and just show that you are in control of your breath and just kind of help ground yourself again. All right, so just do like 2 more of those nice deep combat breaths. So suck in real hard and you're pushing out. The next move we're gonna go into just to continue warming up is just a little bit of a cat-cow, which is extending back and rounding. And rounding, just so you can see here. So we're just doing a light warm up. I know we are a little pressed for time, so we're gonna go into that. And then as far as going into our Tabata, we're gonna go right into the Tabata here. So it will be a timed segment. And for our time segment, we're gonna have, I'll be letting you guys know what to do here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right into jab. So we're sitting down here and we're gonna just do a jab motion which is just a nice punch here at the chest height. If you don't have the core to have both hands up at a time, please feel free to kind of hang on and punch as you go. So we're gonna start our 20 seconds now. So you're punching for 20 seconds as you're able to do it. All right, looking good, looking good. So we're trying to keep our core as tight as we possibly can. Again, like I said, if you need to hold on, please do so. Hold on. Excellent, very nice. Just keep moving and we're resting. So as part of the Tabata formula, we're just gonna rest for 10 seconds and then we're gonna go right back into it. 2, 1, arms up. Give us some jabs, give us some jabs. Very nice, looking good, come on. Keep breathing through it, nice deep breath. Keep punching through. Very nice, come on. Stay in it, keep moving. 2, 1, and we're resting, beautiful. So just take a little breather there. Looking good. All right, we're back into it. So now what we're gonna do is some Russian twists. Our Russian twist is either here with 2 arms up guarded, or we're hanging on to one side and kind of going over. You're working on a little bit of mobility, but we're gonna go ahead and do some twists. You do have the other option too. So if you guys were to be doing this later, you can grab an object, anything you can find, a water bottle would suffice, and you would be twisting side to side with your object. You can grab it from one side, bring it to the other. Go ahead and rest. All right, we've got like a 10-second rest right here. We're gonna go right back into it. All right, and we're back into it. So we're twisting, we're twisting. We're just gonna do about 2 rounds of these because I do want to allow for some time for questions. So keep twisting. All right, and rest. So you would be going into your 10-second rest right now. And you can keep going through that for approximately 8 different movements. All right. So I know this is kind of quick and fast and furious, but I did just want to give you guys a quick little brief intro to what a Tabata workout can be. There are some movements embedded in the slides. I can take a look at the Q&A. So if there's any information that I didn't provide for you, please let me know. I'd be more than happy, and we can get any information over to you. Bottom line is just get out and start moving. I know that the PVA partners with the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, they did offer an at-home version for the adaptive fitness, and the adaptive fitness is actually taking over a majority of the national VA national events. So you will see this, it's not going anywhere. And I hope to see you guys out there.
Christina, we did have one question.
Okay.
Are there modifications that you would suggest for folks who have issues with balance? The more active I become, the more my balance is affected.
Yeah, no problem. So if we're talking about somebody who just has, has the ability to stand or anything like that, anytime you're doing a movement, certainly put a box underneath you just for safety. So if you were to do like air squats, for example, I'm just going to kind of show you here. So if you're doing squats, you're coming up, always have a box or something behind you just to squat down to. For anybody else who has any type of like balance issues, or you start feeling like a little dizzy when you start moving, absolutely work out with your wheelchair, like with your back to your wall. This way it provides like a little bit additional support if you don't have a workout buddy with you, but just to provide it and just like really make sure that it's pretty stable.
Super. Thank you so much for that quick
Hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks. And for getting us moving this morning. We've been sitting here enthralled with all of these wonderful sessions and all of these great presentations. So what I would like to do just in a quick minute before we call an end to the day is that I'd like to challenge you. You know, we've listened to a lot of good information. You've taken in a lot today. You're likely going to think about it for the next few days, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe it will become a part of your life. But just to be sure, I'd like for you to write it, say it, and do it. So if you take a moment now or when we finish and based on what you've learned today, write down one thing that you will do between now and Thanksgiving. So in this next week, it can be simple or it can be challenging, but you need to write it down. So I have written mine down. I'm going to take those 3 minutes that Kate suggested every morning for self-support. Now that once I've written it down, I'm going to say it. So as I read it to you, I have told all of you, you are my witnesses to keep me honest on doing this task. So if you don't have a big audience like I have at this very moment, tell your husband, tell your wife, tell your kid, your dog, your friend, tell the world on Facebook, but tell somebody, because actually stating it and telling somebody is a reinforcement. It's been shown to assure that we're more likely to carry out on our plans. And then of course, you know, there's doing it. So I'm going to put this on my computer screen so that I see it every day and it reminds me. Hopefully I'll do it before I get to my computer screen in the morning, but I think there's no greater gift that we can give ourselves and to the folks that have been our teachers and our guides today than to put what we've learned to work in our own lives. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to all of you. I'm going to turn it back over to Marissa in just a second, but I really hope to see you again tomorrow morning. I think today we talked about all those internal things. Tomorrow we're going to start talking about taking your empowerment out to your life and to your community. So thank you so much, Marissa.
Thank you, Cheryl. And thank you everyone so much for attending today. Please be sure to join us tomorrow using the day 2 link that you have received by email. And be sure to check out the online event guide so you can customize your schedule, view resources, and get updates. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day.